Hey, there's still an open mic somewhere. It's blaring. It's truck or something.
Third and final heat is underway for the individual women's event number 1. We've had 2 heats down. Only one athlete has finished, and that's a time of 14:17. And as you see behind us, the third and final heat with your top athletes currently underway for their first heat of the weekend.
Well, and I'm excited to see what this one is because of the level of athletes won and the names that we have. Sara Sigmundsdottir, who did so well in the swim event last year. Samantha Briggs, same thing. Karin Frey, same thing. We also have Alessandra Pichelli also does well in swim events. So this is, and they're all strong women. So it's going to be really fun to see just how hard they can push in the water with that little sandbag twist.
About all the women are done with their first 20 sandbag cleans. It was a 100-pound sandbag. Now this is one of the fastest 20 cleans we've seen, right about a minute 10. Usually it's about a minute 30 in the first 2 heats. Unofficial time to beat, top part of your screen, 14:16. Set by Julie Haggard out of Denmark in heat number 2. And I think that's going to be a very hard time to beat because she looked very good in the water.
Yeah, you know, we talked about how important it is to have that confidence and that ability in the water and what that can do for you. The only difference that I think that she has is she didn't push the swim. And maybe that was to be able to get to the sandbag and work the sandbag, but I didn't see her attacking the swim. She looked more comfortable. Now, granted, in most CrossFit events, if you're a swimmer, you don't have to push the swim. I mean, you make up so much distance just by being efficient. But in this particular heat, we have so many athletes that are going to fight tooth and nail all the way through on every piece. So it's going to be a tough one. That's a good time.
And I think that's the advantage of coming in the third heat is that you can get some feedback in terms of what is actually the pacing of this workout. It's different than any event we've really ever seen. And that drop from 20 cleans to 10 to 5, as we were talking earlier in the first 2 heats, is just a massive game changer in terms of going from your second 150-meter swim just to 5 sandbag cleans at the end to your third and final one. And where it is, you should actually push.
You're right. And it's like that last set of 5 sandbags, that's not the element. We're just breaking up a 300-meter swim is what you're doing. So you're doing 2 in and outs, basically. And those, I mean, for most, even if you're talking in a lifeguard, life-saving sort of competition setting, that's the hardest part. The in and the out, is not swimming. So you can't just rely solely on the swimming.
Three athletes making the final turn on the left side of your screen to this 150-meter course. You can see right up front, they'll enter the water between the flags on the right, swim to the far right buoy, to the left and back in, about 50 meters per length. So it's this little triangle from start to finish.
See, now, watch how these ladies are doing this. Now, you'll see them, they're all staying pretty flat. Decent strokes. You can see where their hands are entering the water. Good roll of their body. They will pop their head up to see what's going on, to see where the direction is, but I don't see them slowing down. Now, you will see in most open water swims a little shorter stroke, just because you have the up and down of the water, so it's not as pretty as pool swimming. But the tempo at which these women are swimming, the way they're swimming, the way they're looking in the water, the way they're looking ahead, I like the race. This is going to make it really exciting for these next 2 rounds.
I believe that's Sara Sigmundsdottir on the left in the silver cap in second. Waiting to see who your current leader is coming out. It'll be about 450.
Ah, that's a swimmer. That's a swimmer. Look at that. Look at that confidence.
So that one of the first, right around the 5-minute mark, and that's about where we saw Julie after her first round. Sigmundsdottir will exit the water in second. And it is Karin Frey, we believe, in lane number 7 in first place. Sigmundsdottir in second. I think Frey actually might be in third. And it might be Emma Tall in lane number 8 ahead of Frey, and that is what it is. So Emma Tall sitting in first, Sigmundsdottir in second, and Karin Frey in third, as Sigmundsdottir will enter the water. Frey coming up just behind her. So Emma Tall out of Sweden is your current leader in heat number 3.
Which is, I mean, you look at the way she's entering the water, the way she's coming out of the water, and from where we were sitting, it's hard to see where they are on the floor. That's why we got a little name change there. But Emma Tall, her swimming skill is unreal. But what's even more impressive than that, Sara Sigmundsdottir, right on her tail. So we know how strong she is. If you watched any of the sanctional events even last weekend when she was in the Filthy 150 and she qualified for the games there, winning that event, already had it out of the open, but that's okay too. But we saw what she did on the sandbags, and she crushed the sandbag event there. So again, if you have a sandbags, that's not an issue. It comes down to the swim, and Sara looks great on the swim.
I think people maybe not remember this, but Sara in her youth, she said swimming was the one sport she did the longest, which was like 6 to 8 months. But that 6 to 8 months of training is still a massive advantage in length of period of time. It's just getting the skill and the comfortability is a massive advantage.
If you talk to a CrossFitter now and you say, "Hey, I need you to work on your swimming for 6 to 8 months," they would think like, "Oh my God, that's forever. How am I supposed to put in all that much time?" So the fact that she did that, even at a young age, there's a little bit of muscle memory with that.
Making the first turn, Emma Tall still holding on to that lead over the rest of the field in heat number 3. Look at this. Tall moving into her last turn. I believe that's Gabriela Migała maybe making her way to the water for the second round. Now the minimum work requirement is 2 full completed swims. Now there is no penalty in terms of moving forward in the competition as a minimum work requirement. It's just you'll get a score of 0 regardless of where you finished along with the rest of the pack. And we've seen some athletes struggle by just getting through that second swim.
Yeah, but I'm very happy to say that, there's been a drastic difference, a drastic amount of improvement in swimming ability across the board.
Emma Tall in the center part of your screen, holding on to that edge against Sara Sigmundsdottir and Karin Frey. That's Lari Cunha out of Brazil, making her way into the water for her second swim.
So with Emma, same thing. You can see this is what we talked about before. Now Julie had that great swim stroke, but she didn't really push it. I was watching the time frame she had when she came out of the water. She was about 10:45 when she finished the second round. So here we are. Emma is about a minute ahead.
She is really pushing the pace.
And she's
on those
pushing
swims.
the pace on the swim, and that's the difference. If you have the ability, if you can move the sandbag, fine. But the last 2 rounds is a swim, and you got to push that, not just rest and recover because you know you're going to beat all the other CrossFitters that just learned how to swim.
Emma Tall outside. Back to her third and final set of sandbag cleans. 5 reps total, and she'll move back into her third and final 150-meter swim. And, Bill, when you talk about comfortability in the water, proficiency as a swimmer, being a swimmer, you can be exhausted. Like, it's okay to actually push the sandbags because it is not going to take away from your swim.
No. I mean, and she can literally recover on the swim because there aren't waves that you have to deal with. Once she gets in the water, she's going to be fine. So she could even handle a handful of meters, 10, 20, 30 meters, and just rest while she's recovering.
Tall entering the water as Sigmundsdottir, Karin Frey, and Sam Briggs exiting the water for their second swim. They'll move into 5 sandbag cleans and back into the water for their third and final 150-meter swim as Sara Sigmundsdottir is done with her 5. She made very quick. She didn't even take her goggles off.
Nope.
And I mean, for 5 reps, what's the point?
No, exactly. But this is what's interesting. So we saw that great swim earlier by Julie Hogard. 10:45, she got to that round. Sara Sigmundsdottir finished the sandbags at 11 minutes. So she's right in that realm. Great position, great timing for her to be able to finish this event as well.
Briggs into the water behind Frey and Sigmundsdottir. Jamie Greene has exited for her second swim. Greene, one of those 4 athletes that were in contention last year for the first place position. Greene has actually won this event a few years back at the Dubai CrossFit Championship and had her most successful year at the CrossFit Games last year, finishing on the podium.
Oh, yeah, she did. She had an unbelievable year last year. I honestly was expecting to see her up a little higher in the field here on this swim event because she, 1, from the area. She's around the water, and 2, she did really well in the swims that have been presented, like the swim last year. So I wasn't really expecting her to be sitting in that 5th, 6th position.
12-minute mark as we have 3 minutes until we reach that 15-minute cap. It's going to be close for Greene as she can get all the way around in 3 minutes.
Now, the idea here, which you see this athlete doing, is sort of the dolphin, but go all the way down to the ground. She right now is worried about breathing rather than about moving, and that's the difference.
And that is Alessandra Pichelli finishing her second swim. 5 quick sandbag cleans at 100 pounds. Oh, you can see the weight of that bag is...
Do you hear it slapping the ground?
Just
Splat.
As we are approaching the 13-minute mark, our eyes are going to be on the left side of your screen is when we will see Emma Tall make that final turn. Unofficial time is 14:16, set in heat number 2 by Julie Hogard. And that is Gabriela Migała as she's done with her second swim. She's in lane number 4. Our eyes are going to be on when Emma Tall is going to make her way out of the water. And there she is, center part of your screen, 13:45. She's about 10, 20 meters away from the shoreline. It is going to be pretty close. 14:16, unofficial time to beat, set by Julie Hogard. Coming up to the 14-minute mark. Clock will stop when she gets to her mat. It's going to be a race up the beach. Can Emma Tall get the time to beat And it's going to be close. Unofficially, it might be enough. We're going to say about 14-14, but again, that all depends on the official clock. So we're talking about a 2-second difference between your top two athletes in this specific event. Now the race for second is on. We saw it between Karin Frey, Sara Sigmundsdottir, and Samantha Briggs. That group of three is in the middle part of your screen. On the left side, you can see Lari Cunha trying to get out of the water. That's her second swim, so she's safe under that 15-minute cap. But with just 3 seconds remaining, that will be the 15-minute cap. As you can see, Sigmundsdottir and Briggs side by side trying to get out of the water. And this will matter in terms of finish placing overall. But it will be Emma Tall, who unofficially should take women's individual event number 1. Sigmundsdottir's got to her mat, followed by Briggs.
And what's hard is the athletes, they can't hear that whistle. They got all, I mean, you can see the cap on over their ears. They got all that water. The heart rate's going. They're breathing hard. They don't hear that whistle. That's why they're all racing. The race is over. They don't know that. We know that. But they just keep on pushing until they get to the mat because then they know officially they're done.
Karin Frey is done, so she'll get third in the heat. Sorry, fourth in the heat. Should be good enough for 5th overall. The only athlete to finish this in the first 2 heats was Julie Hogard. And we'll have to wait till the official times come out, as her and Emily Tall were only separated by a matter of seconds. But Bill, like you said, it was close between that Heat 2 time, but I mean, I'll say some props out to Hogard.
Oh my gosh, huge.
You know, she didn't really have anybody else out there to push her. At least Tall had some semblance of what it took.
Yeah, and in the fact, like, she lost a minute in there somewhere because she was a minute ahead, unless what happened was she just pushed too hard too early and then was trying to play makeup, whereas, you know, Julie kind of flipped it a little bit and was able to, I don't know if she actually made a negative split out of it, but she definitely didn't lose that much time, the fact that it came in so close.
As the women wrap up their first individual event of the weekend, it's going to be a long weekend. We got 4 days of competition coming. As we're waiting for our final athletes to get out of the water, we will turn from the women to the men. Individual and men from the 2019 Dubai CrossFit Championships is coming up next.